You must understand that what was once considered easy tasks will no longer exist. What was considered hard tasks will be the new easy. And what was considered impossible tasks will be the new hard.
That's what the next skill set's going to be. It's who can use the AI more effectively.
People who are able to manage the AI backend that makes those people more successful. That's what it's going to be.
You can go and throw all of the actual market trends into AI and say, hey, like, what's the projection over the next 10 years?
Well,
you must understand that what was once considered easy tasks will no longer exist. What was considered hard tasks will be the new easy. And what was considered impossible tasks will be the new hard.
That's what the next skill set's going to be. It's who can use the AI more effectively.
people who are able to manage the AI backend that makes those people more successful. That's what it's going to be.
You can go and throw all of the actual market trends into AI and say, hey, like, Crazy Fizz.
What's going on in this water bottle you got here, sir?
Is a sparkling water. It's the best sparkling water on earth. It's 1 liter for $2.50 at HEB. Here, everything's better. The best water you can get. Don't
We are
buy
not
HEB
desperate
water.
for sponsors. I promise.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. 'Cause
When I go to HEB, they actually added a third row of these. It used to only be 2 rows. I literally buy 14 plus bottles at a time.
do you ever find that odd? Like, you go actually find like a really good product and you're like, oh man, I'm like the first one drinking it. You're rocking it everywhere you go. Then all of a sudden you turn around and you see everybody with it. And you're like, holy cow. It's like when you buy a car, right? Nobody has that car. You hardly see that car out on the road. Then all of a sudden you buy it, you see it everywhere.
That's true.
I wish that happened with this so that I could pick up a 4th row instead of having to go back every so often and getting only 3 rows worth of it, frankly.
Charles is like, I'm the one buying all of it.
Yeah, it's me. I'm him.
And welcome back to another episode of Truth Disorder.
I'm Gary.
I'm Ernest.
Charles.
Oh, Ernest and Charles. What'd you call him last time? Charlie? Charles man?
What did I call you?
I don't know, but David was like, don't ever call him that again.
Charlington?
No, because that would have been cool. I would have liked
Yeah.
that.
Charlington.
Charlatan?
That sounds very English Scottish.
Whoa.
Very English Scottish.
So we are on Truth Disorder. We were talking last week. We were gonna touch on a little bit of Project Bluebeam. I think that was on the agenda. But before we get into anything, let's talk some snacks. What's going on? What'd you bring here today? Who sent us stuff?
So here we have the unspeakable fruit blocks. These are made with real juice, non-GMO, no artificial flavors or colors, and absolutely no red dye. I don't know why, but I keep running back to them. Like, I got a box of these and I've probably already eaten like 6 of them.
I saw
it
them sitting
smells
here.
good.
I saw them sitting
Dude,
here
they're-
when I walked in. I'm like, I even asked you, I'm like, can I open these now? And you're like, either on a live or on the show. And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, that was the most Rain Man shit.
Did you hear the word
There's
it's
18 gummies in here.
It's an organism in here. What are you talking about?
Okay. You know what? This smells like, my mouth is watering while I smell this, but
This is the apple and strawberry.
you know when you go to Bath and Body Works and you want like to eat a candle? Is that just me? Does anybody else?
No,
have that?
I get that. I get that vibe with the cinnamon roll
I may have
candles
grown
that
up
they have.
eating Play-Doh. I don't remember doing that, but that could have been a thing.
Non-toxic Play-Doh.
Yeah.
No,
So
actually, it was toxic back in our day.
yeah. Did you ever eat Play-Doh?
No.
No. I smelt it. I remember wanting to eat it back when I could remember.
It has that like salty aspect to it. And I think that's
How do you
what
know that
gets
it's
me.
salty?
You can smell it. You can smell
You
the
smell the
salt on
salt?
it.
I've
Yeah.
never been able to
So
smell
did you
salt.
eat crowns?
You put your tongue on
Crayons?
it.
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah,
you?
you ate crowns, right?
Yeah, I was gonna be a Marine at one point.
Okay. Gary's like,
Thanks, Gary. Gary got it.
All right, let me taste test. So passes the smell test. Let me go down on this thing here.
Gary.
It's pretty good. It's better than the Welch's snacks,
yeah.
you know.
But does the Welch have this crazy character on it?
I gotta say, do we have to say nothing but good things
No,
about
you
people
can
that
say bad
sponsor
things.
you? I can be honest about this.
Be honest. Oh, jeez.
It smells better than I expected it to taste. And if I had a nickel for every time I said that in my life,
Here we go with the non-PG version of Truth Disorder.
Yo, can I get a
I'm not gonna
David's
take that
bag?
anymore.
Yeah, extra bag.
What do you think, Charles?
I love them. They're great. I wish they didn't have corn syrup in it, but I understand, especially when you're manufacturing at scale, you have to have a little bit. But the flavor, the way it smells, and I'm eating a second bag. What are you gonna do?
So, what are the big health concerns about corn syrup?
So the problem is that it has a higher glycemic load.
Okay.
So compared to regular sugar, it essentially creates larger amounts of. It increases your blood sugar by a higher percentage.
It's like your
than,
insulin
stable
resistance or
sugar
whatever.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And when you have higher spikes of blood sugar, your insulin resistance over time wears down. Same way, like if you do large amounts of certain substances, your serotonin receptors will start to fall apart.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But
So these
corn-
things are kind of like trauma. The
Yeah.
more you endure these, the better it gets. I'm gonna wash it down with my Nicked 6 milligrams strawberry watermelon ice, as seen on Kill Bill.
Not
Tony,
yet a-
Kill Tony.
not
Kill
yet
Tony.
a sponsor.
Fuck, almost nailed it.
Not yet a sponsor.
All right, let's talk about some things in depth.
Let's dive into it.
Can we have a moment of silence?
Or can
for,
we say delve into it?
Can we have a moment of silence for David, real quick? Ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
David's okay. He's just actually in Georgia.
David hurt his knee.
That's
David's
what happens when you turn 30.
David's living in the world of what was that movie where they made everything look so much better than what it actually was?
The Matrix.
No, not The Matrix. They live in a neighborhood. Forget the name of it. It'll come to me later. Anyway,
They probably lived in a neighborhood in the Matrix.
I mean everybody lives in a neighborhood, just
Well,
about.
Go up to Bernie, and there's some people who, they don't have the neighborhoods up there, brother. You know what I'm saying?
You turn around in my driveway, boy.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of the guy up north that actually pulled his gun on the
Yeah.
DoorDash driver?
That was insane. He not only that,
He shot
him.
at it.
He killed
He
him? I
shot
can't
it.
remember if he killed him, but he definitely hit him.
He
And
definitely hit the car.
It wasn't cool, but it was a really good shot. It was a really, like, for a pistol at that distance, super good shot. On a moving vehicle, can't believe he hit him.
He almost came out too quick.
Yeah.
Like literally you could see the car lights creeping up his driveway. He must have had maybe like an acre on the front side of his property to his gate, and the car's creeping up, and literally as soon as the car gets to the edge of his driveway, the door flings open. Dude has like a freaking AR-15 and
AR-15.
AK-50, whatever, AK-47.
Am I remembering?
No, I think
incorrectly?
AR-15 is
AR-15,
yeah, it's a
AK-47.
gun.
No, it's a gun.
I'm not judging your gun thing. I'm
No, I
not
thought it was
correcting
a
you.
pistol.
I'm like
It had an
verifying.
SKS
not a
or
pistol.
It was definitely not a pistol. It was a long range rifle at least, at minimum.
I want to look at it.
I believe it was a long
I
range
wasn't
rifle.
questioning like
Unless I'm just
I don't
envisioning
remember.
something.
I remember a
recognition.
pistol. I thought he had a handgun.
I mean, I opened something back, in my closet, and maybe that's why I'm
What about the closet artist?
correlating to it too. But it was just the oddest thing. Like it was, like literally, and he's all over the news now. They're plastering him on the news.
Was it a handgun or was it an assault rifle?
It wasn't. It was a pretty.
Well, very few people have assault rifles because, ladies and gentlemen, an assault rifle is only a rifle of at least 12 inches that is fully automatic. Assault rifles don't exist.
Wait, you mean AR doesn't stand for assault rifle?
No, it's Armalite Rifle 15.
What? I'm mind blown.
I don't know. I'm looking it up, actually.
Are you
That's
kidding
crazy.
me? You just make that up?
What do you mean?
I thought it was assault rifle.
No, an assault rifle is like definitionally, it's a firearm that's used in close quarters combat.
So
or long-range
AR and
weapons.
AR-15 does
Yeah,
not.
it's Armalite Rifle.
Whoa.
You didn't know that?
No.
No.
Wait, weren't you military?
No. Yeah, I don't freaking
they're
study
like-
what I'm shooting.
They're like, here, Gary.
Yeah,
fear
here, have this. Aim at that. Boom. I was
It was a
left-eyed.
town
It's like
official.
do this. Like you had to hold your eye up, right? Like hold their hands up like this, and then close each eye, and whichever you're focusing on, that's which eye dominant you are. So if I'm like trying to focus on this here camera, well, I'll just do this camera here, right? So, boom. This is gonna be a still shot. That's gonna be like Gary's in the Illuminati, but no, right? So since I'm closing my eye.
Oh, thumbnail. Crop that.
I am left eye dominant, right? So I had to hold my gun like John Wick, and I held it like John Wick before John Wick came out. So what's up, John?
John.
Keanu?
John copycatter.
Yeah.
Keanu copied
It,
me,
it was
dog.
it
was a handgun.
Oh, it was a handgun.
And it was, I mean, it's hard to tell the distance. I think we all know it's really hard to tell distances. But it's like, that's got to be at least 75 feet. That's an insane shot. I couldn't hit that shot at 75 feet, and I practice often.
Yeah,
with
with a handgun, that'd be
with a
hard.
handgun. Rifle would be easier.
So was the guy actually a lost DoorDash driver?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he just shot him?
Yeah, and the guy was a
They- no, they
Chester
didn't
town
shoot
official.
him. They shot
Allegedly,
at
he shot
him.
him. No, he hit him.
Oh, he hit him.
Yeah, I think so.
I just saw the video
Why did he shoot him?
because he came onto his property. I guess the dude's disoriented and doesn't know where he lives. He probably lives in the most liberal state ever,
It's in
aka not Texas.
New York.
Yeah. Go figure.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Wow.
Hook,
Well,
line, and
second.
sinker.
California's definitely up there. number
California.
one.
He shot him and he hit him in the back.
Oh, geez.
Wow. I hope that guy's all right.
He's gonna be all right after the lawsuit.
Touche.
Who's getting sued? Do you think DoorDash?
Oh no, but well, actually, yeah.
DoorDash could get sued because what if the app actually told him to
If
turn?
the app told him to go there, they're probably gonna have a problem. That's gonna be a settle out of court. But the guy's a town supervisor.
Interesting.
This is all alleged, ladies and gentlemen. These are just the facts as we read them. We're not making any statements or allegations against any parties or injured parties.
I have a question.
What?
I'm having a Gary moment.
You have a lot of those?
I do. I know this is one of those.
Yes.
Gary's like,
Yeah. Hey,
Gary.
so I want to play What's Your Price?
Oh, geez.
All right. What's your price? Say you got shot in the back. You know, not making light of what happened to him. Awful situation. However, comma, space.
Disclaimer.
Say you got shot in the back and you can't walk. What's your price? What amount of money would you take to not be able to walk again?
80 mil, and then I would get a Starlink, Tesla
Neuralink.
Neuralink system.
Yeah.
A Neuralink, my legs will come back to
Dude, yeah,
work again.
I would get him cut off. I'd become Doc Ock. You know what I'm saying? Dude? Wouldn't even need him. I'd have like robot legs. Be perfect. That would be so much cooler. I'd pay for that experience.
So
Dude, you know girls would love it too.
You know that one bar? Turn it all the way up. Oh,
I don't
Fun
know.
times.
I don't think I'd have a price. We'll let Charles.
I don't think I'd have a price either.
It'd be a tough one for me.
Because I'm totally anti Neuralink. I don't think.
Well, you got
there's-
kids too. Like, you got to think about that stuff too, right? Like, and then what's the actual life expectancy like once you're in the, without legs, in a wheelchair? Unfortunately,
Like, what's the life expectancy?
like how long are you gonna live after that? Like, I mean, you got shot in the back.
there's war
What if they had to
veterans
pull
who
out like
survived a
your
while.
liver or your kidney? Or
Well, I
like-
mean, you would just have
Oh.
to stay active. I think is probably the most important thing. Like
Yoga's out the door.
Yeah, yoga's out the door.
I mean, you could do.
Well, I mean, there
The
are guys.
PBS, the PBS seat exercises for the old people.
Well, there are guys where like I've seen videos where they will do like full standing row like push-ups.
Yeah.
Like in their chair.
Some of
with
those
things.
dudes are
Yeah.
jacked,
They're
though.
jacked,
Like,
dude. Yeah.
like even in a wheelchair, they're like.
It's
you
like that
said,
guy
they're-
on The Simpsons, Joe.
Because all they're doing
That's
is like
Family Guy,
literally
isn't it?
like pull ups
Oh,
and
It's all right. It's all right. I'm here for you.
Thank you.
I'm a fact checker.
I want to know, like, with these news articles, how many of them are written by AI nowadays? How many of those do you think are written by AI? You think like 85% of them?
That's an interesting question.
If I was in the newsroom, everything I did would be written by AI. I would do nothing all day long, and my bosses would never know.
I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
could just imagine, those Illuminati journalists
Yeah.
that, had early access to ChatGPT back in 2007, and they're
Well,
like,
it's
"Hey."
literally like I'm gonna tie this police scanner to AI, and it's just gonna regurgitate me a bunch of news articles.
Brilliant. How do you API that?
You'd have to do an agentic system where you would have like one scraper that has its own memory, and then it transmits data to a sorter, and then you'd have to go down the line.
Yeah, I mean that, or you could use like OpenAI's voice command,
Yeah.
and tie it into the actual police scanner,
Mm-hmm.
and then feed the audio into OpenAI and have it translate.
Yeah, you can do that with SuperGrok.
Yeah.
I can set it open and have a video playing on my computer, and I can make it do whatever it wants with the output audio.
So you
And
just need
it's-
to connect those two.
It's so incredibly accurate.
They're super accurate, which
Yeah.
is scary.
That's scary.
Because could you imagine? I mean, I mean, we just might have gave the news outlets like $1 million idea. Patent that.
They're already using it. Gotta be.
Absolutely.
I'm sure
There's no way no one's thought of that.
There's no
I'm
way.
sure they're using AI, but I don't know they're using AI at that caliber.
I wonder if GTA 6 is gonna have AI in it.
Rockstar
that
already
way.
said. Well,
for real?
not in that way.
No,
but
no,
like, they're
yeah.
creating assets with AI.
They're creating assets already.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
Yeah, 100%.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I bring that up because there's
Stupid-ass shark
questions about AI-driven financial market manipulation in 2025. So in 2025, the integration of artificial intelligence into financial markets has sparked significant debate, particularly around the potential for AI-driven manipulation. The topic is not only it's sketchy, but it questions everything, because when we think about like how they could actually do that, it talks about analyzing sentiment and emotion amongst like X users and things like that, and they're leveraging AI to do that, to go and make their next moves on the market.
Just like the NASDAQ or like crypto markets and stuff like that.
I mean, they can manipulate any market now. I mean, think about it. Perfect world. Paint the picture. Ernie's going to paint a picture. Ernie's no artist. I'm not perfect. You're sitting at home going, damn, I wish XRP would have a bull run right now. And
Don't
you go to your X profile and you're like, what's the latest on XRP, and start typing that into your search bar. Meanwhile, these algorithms are finding those searches and reading those emotions and are able to actually make those moves before you even commit. Because AI is analyzing that and giving them overviews. Kind of like when Charles and I go back and forth on our debates. It's like, plug in the AI, plug in the AI, plug in the AI. So our AIs are basically just battling each other.
Yeah, I just don't do math anymore at this point. Like, I'm not going to sit there and figure out like the azimuth and then the trigonometry behind the question. Like, I know how to do it, but I'm not going to sit there and do it.
Right.
Obviously.
Well, I mean, just think about that. Like, they can go and throw all of the actual market trends into AI and say, hey, like, what's the projection over the next 10 years?
Well, and I'm already putting together an agentic marketing bot for our team, and I actually have it scraping data and pulling data and collating data already.
Oh, nice.
Like, it's very similar to the transaction bot I had created, but now instead it's creating ad copy and then marketing and then plugging in. I'm working on getting it set up for actually interacting with the Google Ad Manager. That's the hard part right now. Google does not want me to be doing that. I can tell by the way it works.
If you need help, let me know.
I will, but hopefully it's all homegrown. That way I can take care of it. You know what I mean? But no, it's starting to get really crazy. Like the things you can do with an agentic agent AI.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, I threw my HOA financials in the AI and told me how long have we run a deficit. I gave it literally reports from like 2015 all the way to now, and it told me like dollar for dollar. It told me where the expenditures were. It basically gave me like, hey, your freaking HOA is corrupt.
I got a buddy that does commercial real estate who plugs in all of his paperwork to determine whether or not he'll get an ROI on a specific investment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's genius. There's
Absolutely.
just so many ways that people are using AI, but I think this kind of going back to the point about market manipulation is like, who's stopping these people from using these botnet scraping tools to go ahead and scrape X, scrape Facebook, scrape Instagram, scrape TikTok, and find what's going to happen before it even happens?
Well, and that's why Grok is so good. They're already doing that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that was Twitter is the training data set for it. It's crazy.
Do you all think that the world financial economic system is going to collapse?
No, I think it's going to fundamentally change. Like there was a video the other day actually I saw on Twitter where I think it was I can't remember what type of doctor he was, but he's the kind that looks at lungs, and he was looking for evidence of a disease, and he's like, yeah, it took me 10 years to be like, oh, I just look at an X-ray, I know exactly what I'm looking at, but the AI figured it out in like minutes.
Doctors are going to have are going to be wearing glasses, kind of like the Ray-Bans and some of those glasses, and it's literally going to probably be evaluating the patient as the patient's telling them everything that hurts.
But why even have the doctor at that point?
That's the scary part about AI.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people, like even myself, like I like AI. Like, don't get me wrong, I love AI. But there is a part of me that tells me, like, whoa, pump the brakes here, cowboy.
There's
like,
gonna be a problem for all.
we're gonna have a huge problem.
Yeah.
A lot of industries are gonna get shaken up.
Coding especially.
I mean, you can go say, "Hey, write me code to program an application that does ABC." I mean, people are already doing it.
Yeah, you can vibe code where you're just like, hey, I want an app that does this. Go ahead and put it into Replit for me.
Yeah.
And then you go to Replit and you're like, okay, push to product, see if it works. Doesn't work. Hey, here's the error dump it gave me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I see. Yeah, let me fix that. And then boom, it's right back.
Well,
I
yeah,
think
you
the
just go throw it back into to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, the code didn't work."
Yeah.
Didn't the CEO from Fiverr send out this like, oh shit, get your shit together email because AI is coming for your jobs? Like, you thought it was hard now, you better, like, if you, like, here's tears to this, right? Like, you were working your butt off and that's going to be the normal, and working harder than hard is what's going to be the new normal.
I have it right here. From Micah Kaufman to team. Hey team, I've always believed in radical candor, and despite those who sugarcoat reality to avoid stating the unpleasant truth, the very basis for radical candor is care. You care enough about your friends and colleagues to tell them the truth because you want them to be able to understand it, grow, and succeed. So here's the unpleasant truth. AI is coming for your jobs. Heck, it's coming for my job too. This is a wake-up call. It does not matter if you are a programmer, designer, product manager, data scientist, lawyer, customer support rep, salesperson, or a finance person. AI is coming for you.
Can you read that next paragraph in the in what you think Micah would actually sound like?
I'm going to pretend he's French. You must understand that what was once considered easy tasks will no longer exist. What was considered hard tasks will be the new easy. And what was considered impossible tasks will be the new hard. If you do not become an exceptional talent at what you do, a master, you will face the need for a career change in a matter of months. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not talking about your job at Fiverr. I am talking about your ability to stay in your profession in the industry.
I think we need to shoot a truth disorder where we all speak different languages.
That'll only last a certain amount of time.
Je peux parler français. Oui, c'est bon.
Yo, wait. I'll speak Spanish. Charles can
Yes.
speak French.
Oh my god.
It'll be a total nightmare mess.
We'll be arguing with each other.
Everyone will hate it.
Oh, that was incredible.
Could you imagine getting that email though in like this day and age where
Yeah.
you're just like, I mean, I'm seeing it because I follow a lot of SaaS. I'm still, which for viewers out there, if you don't know what SaaS is, it's software as a service. There's a lot of prop tech companies out there. There's a lot of tech companies in general just kind of putting out this warning like, hey, AI is going to take 40% of our market share here in the next 10 to 15 years, if not sooner. If you're looking to get out of this space, make moves now because things are coming. And I think they're raising that awareness because, like Charles mentioned, like imagine if you could just go to AI and have it write your own application.
And you can.
And you can already do it.
Yeah, and that's what the next skill set's going to be. It's who can use the AI more effectively. I mean, my job right now with Mariah and Tori, frankly, is to replace myself with AI before a product comes along that does the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what my job is.
Right.
We're dealing with that now
yeah.
as I'm going out having all of these meeting with all kinds of brokerages, pitching to them, telling them, what about New Home Buddy, and now we are having, money go into Facebook ads. And I'm trying to outwork Facebook ads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like money's the name of the game with that one, right? Like you throw enough money at that, I need to continuously, my goal is to double that number, as many signups that we're getting there. So I'm trying to, being able to be of value in that arena that I'm in and, not get outworked out of a job is a big deal, right? But I'm also lucky because I'm in an industry where by the numbers, not coming at realtors, but 75% of agents just don't really
It's 87.
work.
87 according to NAR.
Well,
They close like less than 1 or 2 deals.
yeah,
they-
so
they
it's
close one deal,
it's
that's
it's 5 and up at 13%, and then 75% between 75 and 87 is 1 to 5.
Yes. Yeah. Of the 87 to 75.
So out of the 75%, and honestly, man, I hate to say this, a lot of folks that got a real estate degree, got a real estate license, they got that because they're just unemployable people, and that is just a hard hard truth.
You know what Tom Ferry always said? This is something that stuck with me really early on in my career with one of his videos. He said, most people get into the real estate business because a father, uncle, aunt, mother, brother, sister, cousin tells them that it's a really good way to make a bunch of money doing nothing. And then they get in and they find out the opposite is true.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a money pit.
Yeah, it really is. Well, and not only that too, like I think there are certain things that won't be replaced, at least in our lifetimes, like front end salespeople, and then again, like in our business, the people who are able to actually go out and make face to face connections, and the people who are able to manage the AI back end that makes those people more successful. That's what it's going to be.
Well, and
sorry.
I was going to expand on that just a little bit. Like, I think a majority of the jobs, like you say, are not going to be more like front facing. They're going to be more maintenance facing, right? Like,
Yes.
hey, maintain the AI, maintain the servers they're operating off of.
Do you know how to talk to the AI is going to be the question.
Make sure that we're building these models and training our models to be as efficient and effective as possible.
To my earlier point, why I'm lucky as far as what my job is, because, getting signups is one thing, but then getting somebody on an application to use it proficiently is the ideal goal, especially for something like our tech startup, because we want to make sure that it's providing value to the person that is paying, who is the builder. And so we're showing conversion rates, we're showing and I'm not plugging, but just to explain the little back end system, we're showing impressions to appointments set to going under contract. And the percentage that we're actually at is an anomaly in sales in general, because they say 5 to 10% is the sign of a profitable business.
Yes.
This app is providing builders with a 30% conversion rate. And so it's really cool to see, but my point is it's just like how talking to the AI is a point that you're making. I had to learn how to talk to agents. Let me give you an example. I did a demo for a brokerage, CB Harper, and it was my first demo ever. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I bombed it. Didn't really know my content that well.
Did they sign up?
It wasn't great. Luckily, I had my mentor there. He was helping me out, and bombed it. He gave me like a B- after the fact, and I was like, "Thanks, that's very kind of you." But for the next 7 days, I get home and I tell my wife, and I tell my 5-year-old, she's 4 at the time, and tell my 2-year-old, I'm like, "Listen, guys, Daddy did awful today. You know what we're doing? We're not watching Netflix for the next 5 days. We're going to watch YouTube videos on how to tell a story. We're going to watch YouTube videos on how to talk to people and present to people." And so like what I'm learning with that is like how to talk to AI. It's the same thing, how to talk to a human, how to talk to a group of people, how to get people engaged, how to impress upon them the why they want to learn something new.
Right.
And before, it never was that hard. Before, it was like, I'm learning something new and I'm getting ahead of the game, because why? My family and I are hungry.
Yeah.
We want to eat some food. And now food is so easily accessible. Everything is done for us. So like just being in this industry, before I get off my soapbox, man, it's just another level of trying to motivate people to want to do what needs to be done in order to, this is something that makes life easier, and it's still hard to get them motivated to want to learn how to do it.
100%. Like one of the first applications that I actually built off AI sold is a product called Listing Describer. I noticed that at an early on stage, agents were starting to struggle with creating listing descriptions using AI. So I went into the back end of OpenAI and programmatically programmed it to understand real estate lingo and built a whole front end facing UI around this product and ended up selling it. But to your point, you have to know how to talk to the AI. You can't just say, "Hey, go give me a listing description for this address," right? Nowadays, you probably can.
Yeah.
Because it's actually doing a deep search on the web. It can go search links and all that other cool stuff. But before, you had to be direct, right? Like, hey, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath. It has these features. It has, a lush landscaping, whatever. Create me a description. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, you have to literally be as specific as possible. It's like talking to a toddler, right? Like you go tell them, "Hey, throw the trash away." They're going to look at you and be like, "What trash?" when there's a million wrappers laying on the ground.
Goodness gracious.
right? Hey, go throw that Cheez-It wrapper in that trash can.
It's so true.
I mean, if you have a toddler and you're watching this, you know what I mean. Like
It's time to
Yeah.
clean up, guys.
Yeah.
And then my 2-year-old's like, clean up, everybody clap your hands. And I'm like, you're just singing, you're not actually cleaning. Like, go pick up this, I'll stand over it, pick up this. Okay, now pick up this. And she's like, clean up, but then my 5-year-old's finally just like, okay, just like, all right, I hate this stupid song. I've been hearing it for 3 years. Like,
Charles hasn't had to deal with that yet.
Nope.
Yet. I put the big word and say
Nope,
yet.
not yet.
I'm sure he's hung out with a couple of somebody's mamas.
Not my type. But I think the big issue is going to come out of all this too. It's going to be very similar to the Industrial Revolution, where we suddenly see a total reordering of the economy. It's going to be bigger, though. I mean, if we can agree that at least in just the basic real estate team sense, because that's what I think we all understand the best at a group level, what we're going to see is teams are not going to have admin assistants. They're not going to have VAs. They're not going to have processors. They're not going to have really anybody who does any kind of customer care. It's all going to be agentic AI taking care of it. It's going to be one person managing that entire system, and it's going to be the frontline salespeople who actually go out and sell.
Right.
It's funny. My prior broker actually kind of saw that in a way, but I don't think specifically with AI. He always described it as agents should be making French fries when you're talking about the way a real estate business should run. The only thing the agent should be doing is focused on going out, finding clients, and getting them under contract on a house. The same thing is going to happen, except team leads in the future won't need to have a gigantic admin support staff. And if they're tech savvy enough, they won't need to have any support staff at all. Everything will just happen on the back end. That's pretty much where it's going. And if we extrapolate that out to every aspect of the economy, the only things that will exist are manual labor for a time until that gets replaced as well.
Who else is going to build 1604?
I wish they would have robots building 1604.
I think that's going to come to like a dead halt.
Do you think 1604 is going to come to a dead halt?
I mean, I think construction. I think they're going to finish this phase, and I feel like they're going to be done with it.
In San Antonio?
In San Antonio.
They need to. The problem is, it's just like Austin. Austin has been building Mopac Expressway and trying to expand it since I was born.
Me too.
I am 27 years
Yeah, I
old.
don't
28
ever
years old.
remember that one stretch of area not being under construction.
It's always been under construction, as far as any of us can remember. It's living memory. It's been under construction.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with Austin is the infrastructure is still a 70s town, and they haven't fixed it. And the same thing's going to happen here, where one day you're going to say, oh, San Antonio's a 90s town, and they never fixed it.
I'm worried about Castroville, because Castroville's blowing up like crazy, and they still have just a long-ass road that's one lane in and one lane out. That's exactly what they did in Augusta, Georgia when I was living there, man. Like, they're putting up all these houses, a lot of really nice ones, right? Decent price, but almost everywhere you went, dude, it was one lane in, one lane out, and then when you're going to work, boy, you better leave an hour early.
Yeah.
To drive 9 miles away.
So that's one of the actual professions and careers that I actually don't even think about, is like architectural engineering and things like that. With AI, you're gonna alleviate. You won't need them.
Yeah.
Like, why would you need them? You're gonna say, hey, here's all the specifications that I need. Here's OSHA requirements. Here's all this. Build me a blueprint. Build me.
Anything that requires logical ordering won't exist anymore.
And I'm already seeing this, because you know what? Now that I think about that, I actually saw an article posted by KSAT 12, I believe it was, about the new project, the $1 million or $1 billion project for this new
Project Marvel.
And you could tell it's AI, because 37 is basically non-existent between the Alamo Dome and the new arena. It just kind of comes to a halt in the picture. And everybody's like worried, oh, that's my tax dollars. I'm like, no, where the heck did the highway go?
Are they going to get rid of it? They can put it underground?
Like, where's the highway? Are we going underground, and they're going to put like a retractable roof on the Alamo Dome or something crazy? Like, I mean.
So apparently we're not paying for that.
No, yeah, we're not.
Yeah, that was cool to hear. I heard about that last year. Actually,
we're not paying
I can
for
tell you,
it
1 second.
directly,
I took a picture.
Because if it's up to Abbott and Abbott has his way, we're not going to pay property taxes here pretty soon.
I don't.
They will be lessened.
I don't
Lessened.
trust the state Congress to do it because of Dade Fallon and those miserable idiots who voted him in as the Speaker of the House. He did a deal with the Democrats, and they haven't done anything that was promised during the campaign, including Dade Fallon's own promises. And Hot Wheels is worse for so many reasons.
Right. So kind of drawing back to the context of the AI into the market manipulation.
So I got the funding sources
Through sales tax.
So for the arena, the PFZ, the TIRZ, private funding, the Spurs, and a venue tax. So that's 1.2 to 1.5 billion right there. And then I also have some for the Alamo Dome Revised project, the Convention Center expansion, the bridge, if you want to hear about those as well.
So
I don't know what the PFZ and the TIRZ are.
So, but it doesn't say specifically where the tax, like it's coming from sales tax, I'm assuming.
The only tax it's showing is unless that's what PFZ and TIRZ stand for, the other one is venue tax. And then the other two are private funding and Spurs.
So I have News for San Antonio pulled up. They're saying that, I'm quoting directly, hotel and rental car taxes helped build the Frost Bank Center. City leaders have said at every turn they will not use your property taxes for the new arena. They say only taxes on visitors, like the ones voted on today, will be used for that. But you will be asked to pay for infrastructure around the facility. The public finance zone, that is the PFZ, just allows them to keep tax money here that would otherwise be sent on to the state. So essentially, collected taxes that would normally go to the state's budget are
Excess
being
tax.
redirected.
It's basically like an excess tax.
Exactly.
Which is why I say like Abbott he has a mindset and a goal right now to try and alleviate as much property tax as possible. I think him and Ron DeSantis are on the same page. Florida, I told my wife the other night, I was like, man, if Florida gets rid of property tax, like that economy is going to pop off.
And I hope they do. I just don't trust, because it's not up to Abbott. It's up to the state, the Congress.
Right.
And I don't think the Congress is going to do so.
Well, yeah, you're always going to get pushback from your
Dave
opposition.
Fallon, the moron. Well,
Right.
the problem is that Dave Fallon allied with the opposition. That's why he's the speaker.
True.
More Democrats voted for him than Republicans in the Texas House.
He's a rhino.
Yep.
He's a
Well,
rhino.
he's from the Austin
Well,
area.
we're about to have our runoff here on June 7th,
Yeah.
which we got a rhino in our running as well.
Yep.
He's a rhino?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Which one?
What's his name? The Mexicano guy that I forget his last name already. I know there's a Rubia Cortez or something like that.
Yeah.
That's running, who served on the Obama administration, which, I mean, yeah, if that says anything at all.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But I think it's just a huge money laundering, because like they promised us with the Frost Bank Center, you know, there was supposed to be like shops and all this gourmet stuff over there for people to enjoy. It was supposed to be like a hub as separate from the city for people to enjoy, and it never happened.
Well, there are some really cool little restaurants around that really nice little playground down there that I have not, like I just saw it probably 3 or 4 months ago, and it is really nice.
Well, because there's a golf course right across the street.
Really? Which one?
I forget the name of the golf course. It's right there.
Yeah, so according to the governor, his hot wheeliness, he just said, I just signed a joint resolution to put a constitutional ban on capital gains taxes in Texas. The next tax law that I sign will cut your property taxes in Texas. So I hope he does. And if they were able to push through, I haven't looked at the bill. I usually do read the local bills, but I haven't read this one. I'm happy about that. The only problem is they need to work harder on property taxes, because property taxes are unrealized capital gains. That's what they are. So if they're going to ban capital gains, they should absolutely do property taxes too. I just don't know, because I know that a lot of the people that Dave Fallon allied with do not share that view and do not agree with that.
Yeah.
And the reason why they would go for the capital gains tax ban is because they're donors, my friends.
Lobbying.
It's lobbying. I mean, it's all it boils down to. You know, I mean, more money, more money, more money. Didn't we just pay for renovations on the Frost Bank Center anyway?
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I would want to see. I don't know if this information is even able to be public, but I would wonder how much money we actually make from the various types of tourism that come in from that. I know they had the Final Four down here.
yeah, Final Four.
I'm sure that was huge.
The rodeo. I mean, we have
Yeah.
the rodeo that's here as well. It's Willow Springs Golf Course. It's right across the street from the.
And I
center.
think that's a great thing. I would just want to see the numbers, and I would want to make sure we're actually doing something where the benefit does actually come back, because that's the point. If we're going to pay taxes on it,
then the gains should come back. And if it isn't, then it needs to be privately funded.
Could you imagine like the governor using AI and basically just feeding all the state financials and feeding it into like this central hub that's just literally processing all this information?
They frankly should.
Like they should if they're not doing it already.
And replace the accounting
Like this,
department.
create a reporting system that the cities report to. They upload all their financials. It literally goes into this main hub that's processing all the data, leveraging AI and giving the governor a quick glance at everything. Like it would make him so much more efficient. Like, I mean, he could at a glance tell like, oh, San Antonio is not doing so hot. You got.
I wonder how many senators and congressmen already do that.
I don't know,
Because these bills are massive. I highly doubt they spend hours, days, weeks, months reading these bills before they go through.
No, and I'm actually super familiar with that process. Politics is my second love. The way that actually works is when you hear like a congressional aide or a congressional staffer, 90% of them, that's what they do. Like they're
reading
researchers. That's what they do. They read these bills, they amalgamate notes, they put it together, and they present that information. That's what they do.
So the AI would basically be alleviating that necessity.
Yes,
And maybe not so much more, so much, because they would still need somebody to actually relay that and maintain that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and then we also have to think about the reality of the issue. Like when you think about the classic way of how bills are written, that's not how bills are written. Bills are written in most cases by the people who are getting these people to office, the lobbyists, the donors. There are times where lobbying firms will literally send over bills to the Congress and add them as amendments or as sole vote bills. Like most of them aren't even writing legislation; they're receiving legislation to write.
there's people behind them actually running it.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. How I can't remember. I think it came out in WikiLeaks where we found out that Obama's entire cabinet was literally chosen by Citibank. Citibank said, "These are the people. These are the positions."
Whatever happened to that dude?
Who?
What was the guy?
Obama?
No, WikiLeaks.
Julian Assange.
Julian Assange. Wasn't he like in Europe or something? In a non-extraditing country.
He's been imprisoned in England for a while. I want to check and see if that's still the case, but I know that he was imprisoned in the embassy in England.
Because he was like one of the first leaks, like leak sources.
Yeah.
And then you had
Snowden.
And then you had who's the other guy that did it recently as well? He was the
Not reality winner.
O'Keefe.
Well, O'Keefe. He's
more undercover.
Yeah, he's more of an undercover guy. I think the only thing he actually leaked was Acorn, which was a abortion clinic in California, and he basically showed that they were selling the aborted fetuses on the secondary market.
That's crazy.
That's crazy,
Disgusting.
right?
It's evil.
Well, I know he just released a documentary about one of an elected official actually leaking or talking about, I forget exactly what it was. I'll have to pull it up for next time. But talking about something, and they're essentially start contradicting themselves. But it was one of his big kind of aha moments.
Oh, so Julian Assange in 2025 is living in Australia. In 2024, in June 2024, he was released from the Belmarsh prison in the UK on June 24th after agreeing to a plea deal with the U.S. Justice Department. He pled guilty to one count of conspiracy to obtain and disclose classified U.S. national defense documents in a U.S. district court in Saipan on June 25th. He's sentenced to the 5 years already served in Belmarsh, which allowed him to return to Australia. So he's in Australia now. But he was held in the embassy.
So James O'Keefe, not to brush off what you just said, James O'Keefe talked about Pam Bondi, who is the United States Attorney General, having a public conversation with somebody who is not supposed to have intel. And she basically said, no, you know what it is, though. There are tens and thousands of videos, and it's all with little. So the FBI have to go through all of them.
Yeah. And I've been...
You're talking about Wiener's laptop?
No, that's Epstein.
Yes.
The thing that's the most frustrating about that whole situation, because I don't know if y'all saw the interview where Kash Patel and Dan Bongino went.
That was,
I loved them until that interview.
That interview kind of broke the whole oh, we're gonna get them.
Nope.
Well, and I'll always remember when Kash Patel said, "On my first day, I'm going to shut down the FBI and turn it into a museum of the FBI."
And you know, I think it's really easy to talk big. Here's the real problem, and here's where I line up on it, because I am in the same camp. I would like to see all this be done.
And to clear up, they said, if you haven't seen the clip yet, Bongino and Patel said that Epstein did not kill himself. They said
no. They said he did.
They said he did.
that's what I mean. I'm sorry. He did kill himself. I'm in backwards line today.
And the issue is here's what I actually think is happening. I think just like the original purpose of all that intel collection, because we cannot forget that Ghislaine Maxwell's father was
Robert.
a Mossad agent,
Right.
a literal Mossad agent working with the Department of Defense and with the Israeli government.
He was a heavyweight too.
And if you don't know, Mossad is Israel's CIA essentially. It's their spy network. He was an officer for them, and then suddenly his daughter becomes the fiance, mistress, pimp to the most notorious trafficker in the world. It's obvious that it was an intelligence operation. It was compromat, as the Soviets would call it. And I imagine that now that they have access to those documents, they're probably going to continue the blackmail of those people. I think that's what's actually happening. I don't know if we'll ever get a
like they
release on it.
flip the global blackmail scheme in the other direction.
Yeah. Instead of being against, now it's for, whatever for means. Who knows what's actually going on in their heads and what they actually believe, right?
Do you think that would be Trump directed
I don't
or
know.
influenced?
I don't know. It's so speculative, but I do think that the only reason they haven't released anything at this point, there are multiple reasons. I think primarily it would be because now they're using the intelligence assets that they have now. 2, they've been threatened and they aren't going to. Or 3, it was an inside job the whole time. They were black hats and they never intended to. Those are the only 3 options that I see.
Who do you think would threaten them?
The people who have the compromat. Well, actually, that's not true. The people who own the people who have the compromat. I'm talking about the central bankers. I'm talking about the people who wield actual
So
power.
Netanyahu's bosses,
Yes,
puppet pullers.
exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's bosses, really.
All their bosses.
Yeah, and Xi too. I think we talked about it a little bit, but I think we always have to remember when we think about the Chinese and their involvement, because they're heavily involved in all of this as well.
Yeah.
Xi is not some supreme leader. He is subject to the political whims of his country as well. And the real governing body is the old men who actually sit the council of the Communist Party. They're probably one step removed from those central bankers that we talked about too, because those people are also working with them as well.
Interesting. So here we have the unspeakable fruit blocks. These are made with real juice, non-GMO, no artificial flavors or
Oh, it smells good.
dude.
Again, I'm like, I even asked you, I'm like, can I open these now? And you're like, either on a live or on the show. And I'm like,
Oh. Okay. You know what? This smells like, my mouth is watering well if I smell this, but
This is the apple and strawberry.
you know when you go to Bath and Body Works and you want to eat a candle? Is that just me? Anybody else?
No, I get that. I get that vibe with the cinnamon roll candles, like the
No, I don't remember doing that, but
the real issue is with all these documents that are coming out or not coming out. I don't know if they'll ever release them, and I don't know if we'll ever see them. And I think I think even if there is a tangible benefit to not releasing them and continuing the compromat, I think that it's morally indefensible and it's morally wrong.
right.
But at the same time, they could also be saying, okay, well, we're not going to release anything because it's going to tip them off. We're going to go after them and do.
So do you think it's like a more of a psyop, like an undercover psyop?
I don't know. It's
Or
too early to tell. Because I mean, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the whole QAnon thing, but like, remember when it was like trust the plan, 2 more weeks?
Yeah, 2 more weeks. Two weeks turned into a year
Yes.
turned into 4, and now he's reelected. And that was the plan the whole
That
time.
was the plan the whole time. Isn't that convenient? Isn't it convenient how the evidence always comes out one way? It's always in the benefit of the person
Right.
telling the narrative, right? But I think that the deep issue there is that there's no way for us to know. They can't tell us in any of the cases. If any of those options are true, they can't tell us those options are true. And we're literally just going to have to wait and see.
Well, it's kind of like the Diddy case that's going down too, right? Like if you watched any of the briefing or the hearing yesterday,
Yeah.
they are trying to marginalize what he actually did.
Yeah.
And
Well, and they have to. in his
make it
defense.
sound of a lesser.
He's not a trafficker. He's just a pervert.
Yeah,
Allegedly. Allegedly, he's not a trafficker. Allegedly, he's just a pervert.
Why would his ex-girlfriend come running back to him? Like they're literally trying to turn it on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whistleblower. of the whole situation.
Well, and with that situation, I'll defer to one of my favorite content creators on the internet, Asmund Gold. Until they start naming his co-conspirators, I sleep, and I feel the exact same way about. I feel the exact same way about the Epstein issue until we start seeing names. I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
I'm just going to assume. I'm going to assume that they want to do the right thing, but they're lying to us about what they're doing. But what do I
to be coy?
Yeah. What do I believe in my heart? We're never going to see it. We're never going to see it for whatever reason.
We may, yeah.
I'm not even going to put a reason out there. It doesn't matter. We're never going to see it.
We won't see it. Somebody might just disappear.
I think that if they were going to do arrests, it would be incredibly public, and that's when we would see everything. But I don't know if that will happen.
Don't you think
hope.
that would cause like some unruliness amongst followers?
Martial law, baby.
Like, well, I mean, we're so programmed to want to live through the lives of these big influencers. You know, like people swear by Diddy, live by Diddy, die by Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like he did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Diddy didn't do it.
Diddy didn't do it. I diddied it.
Free Diddy. That's crazy.
But I mean, you have those that like die for you mentality amongst kind of these people. So if they were to do something publicly like that, there would be an unruliness, right? Like people would probably riot. People would probably cast stones and try and start stuff. I mean, we saw that during the previous election.
Well, that also begs the question, is that one of the reasons why they know they can't? That's what I think.
Just makes them untouchable.
Well, and then the other thing is, too, I think with the shutting down of USAID, what I've noticed is, because we've watched how many years now of these very obvious AstroTurf protests. Like, remember with George Floyd, where people were on the ground showing videos of pallets of bricks arriving in the middle of some of these major cities that ignited the protest. I will never forget that. I watched it happen on a live stream. All of a sudden, we don't see that anymore. So I wonder how
There
much
were Craigslist ads.
I wonder how much power the apparatchik still has. You know, how much power does it actually have, and how much of our taxpayer dollars were funding all of that the whole time? So if they did do something, is there even still the apparatus to cause?
I thought it was GS that was actually funding a lot of that, though.
I mean, I think just like the Rothschilds, George Soros is just a front man. I think that he's the butler for the Rothschilds. And I think the
he's
Rothschilds,
the money deliverer.
And I think the only reason we know the Rothschilds' name is because they're not the actual ones at the top. They're the scapegoat.
There's somebody else that's escaped the public eye for
they're
decades.
they're like the second cousin of the king removed, who is the one who goes out and actually does the dirty work.
Well,
That's
there's
what
also
those people are.
that really nice pyramid out in like close to the Middle East where
Oh, not the Bass Pro Pyramid.
no.
Sorry.
Darn, I was just at
Nope,
Camilla's. the other
not
day.
that one. But it's where the 200 fallen angels are said to meet on an almost annual basis. And there's they like you can go on Google Maps, and apparently, I mean, I just saw some guy do this, and he goes in, you can see the pyramid, and there are levels to it, and then on the very top floor there is seating. There's 200 seats that
That's interesting.
apparently that they stay out of sight, and then that's where they
That's where they have their meetings.
they have their meetings and run the world from.
Interesting.
I have to
Is
find
this the
that video again.
Is that the pyramid that they just recently found pillars with copper coils?
No.
wrapped around?
This is it's an actual
I think it was the Great
modern.
Pyramid of Khafre.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but it's a modern day. At least I think it's very modern architecture, just built, and it's supposed to be where the Antichrist might actually might come from.
If you could put one name as to who that person is, if there was somebody higher than the Rothschild, who do you think it would be? And is it just one person, or is it a family?
I think it would be a family, and I don't think we'll ever know their names. That's why the Rothschilds, and that's why George Soros exists. Soros is like the butler of the family, and then the Rothschilds, again, they're like the second family removed, the second cousin removed of the family, that patriarchal line. The exact same way that the king of Bohemia, for example, wouldn't go out and put down a rebellion. The second cousin would, because that's what he exists for, because that's his job in the feudal system. They're still operating under those rules.
Right.
It's clannic in a way.
Well, I mean, we see that similar structure amongst some of our most wealthy people, right?
Yes.
Like, they're not the grocery runners. They're not the bank runners. They don't go to the bank. The bank teller never sees them, talks to them, hears from them. It's always just somebody who has that power of authority to make that decision.
I had a client once where I never met them. I never spoke to them. They had an assistant come out and do the showings with me, and then I only spoke to their banker. I sent the documents to somebody who had a POA for them, power of attorney, and then they closed. I never even had their real email. But they sure closed.
That's how rich I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Charles and I already know you, so.
And it was like a vacation home, and like it was when I don't want to say the broker's name. But it was in like the Bernie airstrip, and it was just a place to park a plane. That's all it was.
Tax write-off.
Yeah.
So the interesting about this Epstein protection that we've been starting to see is around this time I saw a Charlie Kirk post where he's talking about the what is it called? The bill that has passed, the HR, the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. So basically, there are people that are saying that it is directly violating 1A, free speech, because what they're trying to do is make it punishable to say anything that qualifies as anti-Semitic.
Yeah, and the specific item is accusing Jews as a people of being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoings committed by a single Jewish person or group, or even for acts committed by non-Jews. And the thing that's so sad about that is, like, I just think that's going to increase anti-Semitism. And it's kind of like if you, because a lot of people, myself included, have a problem with what Israel does, but you can't criticize what Israel is doing because then you're anti-Semitic.
Right.
But I'm not anti-Semitic because when you go to Israel and you see on-the-ground interviews with Israeli people, even people in the IDF who shield their identity, they say, yeah, we don't like the Likud party who is prosecuting this issue with the Palestinians. We don't like this. This is a problem. It's making everyone in our neighborhood hate us. Like, we can't keep doing this. And I think that this is just more of that. It's like it's almost like a four-dimensional chess play to make people dislike Jews more. And it's like, it's insane. It's just insane that they're doing this.
Well, and what's wild too is, like, I don't want to say or be derogatory towards one religion, but a lot of people forget about, and this isn't to like put Hitler on a throne or anything, but a lot of people forget about what happened in like 1905, where a small subset of Jews actually killed Polish officers, which shortly after that would follow World War II and so forth. Like,
well, and it's just such a problem because it's like when you single out a group, even to create protections for them, you're going to create the conditions for them to
friction,
not
animosity.
be protected. It's such a
resentment.
it's almost like it's literally almost like they're doing it on purpose, and I think it's evil. Actually, it's evil for the Jews.
But I mean, could it be that they actually did something wrong?
Let me say that one more time because I know Trek is always listening. It's evil against the Jews for them to do this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's disgusting.
I wonder how they could like evolve that into targeting Christians, because I do feel for some reason something tells me that that's just the end game.
Just
like,
to target Christianity.
Yeah.
It very well can be. Not saying that it is, but it could be. I mean, it could be a target against just any religion. I mean,
I think Christianity has already been targeted for a long time.
Oh, for sure.
For a super long time. But where do we go from here?
I don't know.
Because no matter what move you make, there's always going to be pushback and friction from whatever, and you're always opening. Nowadays, it seems like what you take one step forward, and like 5 people beside you take like 10 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost creating this barrier of friction for anything and everything to be seen as unjust.
I'll say what I told my wife in 2023, January. I had started this Bible in a Year program I've mentioned on here before, and I told my wife, because we had not really been serious about faith, and as a matter of fact, when we started dating, she had told me about this guy that she dated who was, all in the church and stuff like that. He was just, just judgmental about her, so I didn't want to go down that road and, just kind of scare her away type of thing. but we had been together for around 5 years at the time. And so I told her around January when I started this Bible in a Year program, I said, hey, I'm starting this Bible in a Year program, just trying to, kind of define my faith and try to see, try to learn something, because I've heard so many different things about what faith is supposed to look like. And something just tells me that I just need to get into the Word and find out for myself. So if you're interested, I'd love for you to join me and see what you think, and just see where this takes us. And so as she's reading and she's just absolutely, enthusiastic. She's a reader and she's getting into it, and just like the devotionals on the Bible in a Year program. It's by Nikki Gumbel, as a matter of fact, that puts all the verses within context. She's fully engaged. She's loving it. And she asked me one time, and she says, so what happens when, Christian persecution happens and ... And the only thing that I could really think of to say was, we have to expect to be thrown into the fire. Us and our family, us that see each other as loved ones, to see each other thrown into the fire. And that's, if you look through how persecution has happened throughout the ages, Christians and just anyone in general that, is, the antagonist, not even antagonist, but like the hated, you just have to expect to just be persecuted. And it can be as ugly as getting pulled out, because this happens in Africa, bro. Like they pull people out of their homes and they shoot the families and, just everybody all at the same time, right? And so just kind of having to prepare someone for that, from a baby, a toddler perspective, like me being a toddler of the faith, right?
Right.
It's a really hard thing to say, but just that's what we just. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that, but that's just part of the evil world we live in.
So the act, actually, the 2024 version of the act passed Congress, did not pass the Senate. Chuck Schumer didn't put it forward for the exact reason I said, which is that it's a problem and it's going to make the problem worse, which I couldn't agree more with. For one of the first times I ever agreed with Senator Schumer.
Yeah, I was going to say, you actually agree with Schumer.
Yeah, well, and it's like, duh, you can't criminalize speech against a group of people. One, it's illegal, and two, it's going to make people hate that group more. The way to stop it is to stop talking about it, frankly, in my opinion.
Right.
But they actually reintroduced it. It was Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. It was introduced on the 13th of February, 2025. It went to committee hearing on the 30th of April, and it apparently didn't pass committee. There's no action on it. At the meeting, they don't even have notes on it. Actually, they held the session.
So they held the session and said nope.
Yeah, which listen, I dislike anti-Semitism as much as anybody else here,
100%.
frankly. But it's like, it's such a stupid idea. It'd be like if you did it for any group, if you did it for purple people, it would just make people say, well, what's so special about the purple people?
Right. What about me?
Yeah,
There's
it's a
the whole what about me mentality.
It's a huge problem.
It's an issue that we have.
Huge problem. Glad it didn't pass.
So, well, I know we want to talk about Project Blue Streak a little bit.
Blue Beam.
But we're Blue Streak. I'm thinking of
Blue Streak.
I'm thinking of the
you have some
movie.
Curacao. You know what I'm saying? You have a problem. You have a mistake.
But we have a couple minutes left. So, do we want to push? Do we want to dive into it? Gary, what'd you bring?
I didn't bring anything.
Let's do a big Blue Beam episode. We've teased it twice now,
we've teased it
ladies
twice.
and gentlemen.
It's coming.
I know a lot about Blue Beam. I want to have a section ready to go on it. We should really just
Yeah.
do
I
it to
said
death.
what I needed to say today. I
But
can
wait,
push it.
wait.
There's more. For only $1 more, you can get the 13 pack of the unspeakable.
But are they going to project the aliens from Project Blue Beam up against the firmament or up against the night sky?
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm glad we didn't get into that today.
Yeah, because I've been reading a lot of stuff about CERN, too.
Mhm. Yeah.
And about 17 different dimensions, and that there's this extraterrestrial life forms that they're communicating with under CERN. But that's to be discussed on the next episode of Truth Disorder.
It's the rituals for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even then, if we just want to do the opposite of burying the lead, I don't know, unearthing the lead, they successfully transformed lead into gold for a split second using the Large Hadron Collider at CERN.
What?
Yeah.
It's going to make gold
Now,
worthless.
Only for a moment.
Only for a moment?
Only-
So then what happens?
I'm not sure.
Just
but
goes back to lead,
if
or
I if I had to guess,
They probably sent it into another dimension.
well, because and what they're doing,
I'm
I'm
just saying.
I haven't thought about CERN in a million years, so forgive me if I'm wrong. Anybody out there who knows more about it than I do?
he's a time traveler, by the way.
What they do at CERN is they're colliding particles, and what they likely did was they took atomic lead and they introduced an additional electron, which turns it into gold. Yeah, and then it probably wasn't stable, but the fact that they did it at all is insane.
Did you ever see that thing that they put in New York? It was like a camera or a screen that you could look through. It was like a structure that you could look through, and it was connected to like another country.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The portal. Yeah,
it was like a portal. They ended up getting rid of it.
Yeah, there was a lot
because
of weird.
people in England
so
were
rude.
showing
Pictures
videos of
of
9/11
9/11.
because the other portal was in New York. And I mean, listen, if we're gonna talk about international bants, good on you, England. You did it.
That was a
was
good
it
one.
Dublin or was it England?
It was-
Hey, it doesn't matter.
Matter.
It's the same country. Get bent. That's for 9/11, baby.
So that is the theory. That's what they tell you. But I think there's a lot more. There's a lot more to it because you don't. It's like the mirror issue, right? Like you
Yes.
don't set a mirror looking at another mirror, right? Because you'll
see forever.
you'll see forever, and you're opening portals. Ooh.
Well, and also it's weird because if you look at it, even if they're perfectly aligned, it'll curve because of your perspective.
Dang. I thought the mirrors were flat.
That's the most rounder shit he said all week.
Is what it is. But the other thing that I think is really interesting about the dimensionality aspect of the whole CERN discussion is too, really when we think about it, the fourth dimension is time to our limited understanding. I always envisioned any kind of creator as a multidimensional being. I think it's the only thing that makes sense from a scientific perspective, frankly. And also I think personally from a theological perspective, because if you could manipulate 15 plus different dimensions, who even knows what dimension 7 plus is?
That's actually proven biblically that
Yeah.
when Jesus was on a mount and he was talking to Elijah with Moses, people think that he was speaking to Elijah during Elijah's time and Moses during Moses's time at the same time. So they literally, like, they knew it was Jesus in that time as he spoke to them at separate times at the same time. I don't know how I just said
Which
that.
would imply that Jesus would have control over the fourth dimension time, which means he would be a multidimensional being, which I think is reasonably consistent with the limited understanding of science that I have. And if anything, if there was something, I'm just speaking hypothetically because I don't know for sure, if there was something that could manipulate dimensions on that level to that extreme, it would be indistinguishable from God. So God must be a multidimensional being.
More to be discussed on the next episode
So many things with Blue Beam too.
of
It's gonna be
Truth
awesome.
Disorder.
Yeah, we're going to be locked in on Bluebeam.
Yeah.
Join us next week for another episode of Truth Disorder. I'm Ernest.
I'm Gary.
I'm Charles. It was awesome, guys. Thanks for
Peace.
coming.
Stay safe.
That was kind of a banger.
Oh, no.
That was kind of a banger, boy.